One thing that's really important to do before you retire, whether that's from the federal government or not, is to make sure that you've saved enough in your retirement accounts to make sure that that money is going to last for the rest of your life. We never want to run out of money in retirement. So we had a really good question come in from one of our listeners asking a very similar question, giving a scenario. And I want to help answer that question in today's video, or at least help you to start thinking about how you can answer that for yourself. Hi, I'm Christian with Plan Your Federal Retirement, back with another All About FERS video. So the question that came in from our listener, James, was, hi, I'm James, 55 years old with 25 years of federal service. I've got $450,000 in my TSP and plan to retire at 60. Between my FERS pension and Social Security, how much more do I really need in my TSP to retire comfortably? Really good question here, James. And before we can answer if $450,000 for you is enough, the starting point to answer this question, really for not only you, but for everybody, is going to be stemmed from cash flow. What does your cash flow situation look like today? And what is your cash flow situation going to look like in retirement? And so one of the things I'd like you to do is to figure out net how much comes in every single month, whether that's from your wages, whether that's from your spouse's wages, or any other sources of income that you have. You come up with what is that net income that's coming in. And then once we have that number, on the flip side, determining how much of that actually gets spent every month. So just using an example, let's say you're bringing home $8,000 a month. We try to figure out how much of that $8,000 a month is getting spent today at 55. And then from there, we can say, okay, are we spending all 8,000? Is it less than that? Is it maybe even more than that? We might have some credit card debt that's racking up. We need to really get a big understanding of how much we're getting spent today. And then also, not just looking at those fixed expenses like, rent or mortgage or insurance premiums, things that come out automatically, but the other stuff, like going to Home Depot or the Amazon purchases or all those extra things that also add up, or even the one-off purchases that will happen, like a new landscaping job that you're doing outside, or something else that are like projects on the house, or things that you don't spend regularly, but you also want to include like traveling and that sort of thing as part of the monthly budget. We really want to get a good understanding on cash flow first. Now, one of the neat things about being a federal employee is that when you retire, you'll have a pension coming in. So now we can figure out, okay, well, what's that pension income going to be? And looking at what that calculation is, we could take the gross and then we subtract all the different deductions that come from that to determine what your net pension will be. Same thing for Social Security, gross versus net, figuring out what your Social Security would be depending on what age that you decide to take it. One of the exercises I have my clients do and I help them do is prepare a retirement income timeline. So we look at where their sources of income are going to come from year over year and seeing if that's enough to meet their income goal that they have today. Now, doing this for over a decade now, helping hundreds of clients planning their retirement, what I'm seeing is spending doesn't change very much between now and when we're actually in retirement. In fact, there's good data, just personally that I've seen, but also that's out there as well, that spending might even go up for a little bit of time. Every day is a Saturday, every day is a Sunday where you're not working. And now you're able to spend more time on hobbies or different interests that you have, maybe traveling a little bit more. So spending might go up. And then at some point it'll kind of flatten out and then maybe it'll go down because you're getting older. You might not be spending quite as much. But one of the mistakes that could get made is thinking that your spending habits are going to drastically change in retirement and that they might go down. So one idea to think about is whatever you're spending today, that should be the target for what we should try to replace in retirement. So that's really the first step, is figuring out what is that income number. And then going back to what I said about that retirement income timeline is mapping out every single year, where are we going to get, in this case, let's say it's $8,000 a month, just to use an example. Every single year, where is my $8,000 a month going to come from? If, James, you retire at 60, you're not going to be able to turn on your Social Security. So we're going to have to figure out between when you turn on your Social Security and that day that you retired, how else are you going to generate income? And so that's really where the TSP comes into play, or any other retirement accounts that you have out there, that we can create an income stream from those retirement accounts, from the cash and the investments that you've set aside. And then what we have to do is we have to create an income stream, but set certain rules to it so that, again, we're not going to be fearful that a decade later, 2 decades later, that you might have run out of money because we took too much out. So that's where we talk about the buckets where we have cash, we've got income, and we've got growth set up specific to when we're going to be taking out that money. And then we create parameters to say, okay, this particular year, we're going to be able to take out this much. And it's going to be a percentage of the entire portfolio. So to help answer James's question, we really first need to see what is pension income going to be net. Again, what is that Social Security income going to be? Compare that to how much he actually needs to see what's the gap between the pension and Social Security, and then what his income goal is to see, is that $450,000 enough? And so unfortunately, we won't have that answer today, but that's the framework that we need to think about in order to help answer that question. And if you have questions about it, or if you're just getting stumped, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to go through it, personalize it for you, personalize that answer for you. Or if you're going to work with your financial advisor, make sure that they can clearly articulate every single year where your income sources are going to come from to help answer if you have enough saved up in your TSP or not. So hopefully this video was helpful. If you have more questions related to this, feel free to write your question below in the comment section. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel so you get our latest videos and content that we put out. And of course, until next time, happy planning.